It's steep, it's wet, it's the wall of Brittany, and it's not just going to decide the winner of today's stage. It'll quite probably produce new wearers of all 4 jerseys in the Tour de France. Good afternoon from Mur-de-Bretagne, otherwise known as the Breton Alpe d'Huez. Now, of course, it's the Breton Alpe d'Huez in the same way as the Chilterns of the Hertfordshire Himalayas, which is to say, apart from a height differential of several thousand feet and the lack of 21 hairpin bends, it's almost identical. Nonetheless, it will be nasty enough to break up the field at the end of today's stage, which should be an absolute cracker, especially in these wet conditions. Before we get on with today, though, we do just want to recap the Commissaire's decision yesterday to disqualify both Thor Hushovd and Mark Cavendish from the intermediate sprint, which I have to say doesn't seem to make any more sense today than it did last night. Here it is again for those who haven't seen it. Mark Cavendish highlighted on the left, snugly on the wheel of Philippe Gilbert. Thor Hushovd moving over slightly from the right to try to snag Gilbert's wheel for himself. A bit of contact from both sides, but hardly anything really that qualifies as argy, let alone bargy. Nonetheless, Hushovd was docked his 4 points for that sprint, bumping him down from 3rd to 4th overall in the green jersey competition last night. And Mark Cavendish lost his 10, dropping from 5th to 9th. Jose Joaquin Rojas, as you can see, leads from yesterday's stage winner, Tyler Farrar. There it is, 172.5 kilometres setting out from Lorient. And it's not just the finish today, the whole stage is pretty lumpy. There's a 4th category climb at 79 kilometres, the Côte de Laz, and the intermediate sprint is just 13 kilometres later, so it'll be interesting to see who's around to contest that. The main action of the day, though, will be in the final 2 kilometres, and there'll be battles going on everywhere for the yellow, the green, the polka dot, and the white jersey too.
Well, you can focus on the green jersey down there. He's the 3rd man on the back of his 2 teammates, because and there's the team of the white jerseys of HTC High Road as well. They've gone on the right. Now, this is going to be a clash then, and Philippe Gilbert is also getting in the mix there in that polka dot jersey.
Well, Philippe Gilbert has made no bones about the fact that he'd like to have a crack at the green jersey too, because with finishes like the Mur-de-Bretagne, they will certainly suit his ability. But it's still Movistar in control, but a big HTC lead out on the right.
Well, now let's see if Cavendish can finish this one off, but Rojas is up for the fight here in the green jersey, but Cavendish, a very familiar figure, but look at who's taking this one out. Tyler Farrar takes it on the line. He's on fire.
He is on fire, just ahead of Rojas, and I think 3rd or 4th position there for Mark Cavendish.
Well, 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 so Tyler Farrar has now got an interest in that green jersey. Now he's picked up just a couple of points more than Rojas, so he's closed the gap. He was 2nd overall in the green jersey at the start of the day. He won't have done enough to win it because Rojas was right behind him. 5 kilometres to go for the leaders, and it's now a matter of a couple of 100 yards or metres, that's all now, back. As we look at Danny Pate now of the United States, pacing up HTC Columbia. TJ Van Garderen cannot be dismissed.
And he's also looking after Peter Velets, and right on Peter Velets' wheel was Tony Martin. The yellow jersey, Phil, is not far away. Don't ever discount Thor Hushovd, because that man has courage and a heart of steel.
Well, he won't give up without a fight, you're absolutely right, but I think the favourite today is Matthew Goss, possibly on HTC High Road, the strong man in his first tour from Tasmania in Australia. They're still keeping at it, aren't they, here? Now, it looks as though Mark Cavendish today, this isn't going to be his day, of course, it was never expected. The odds on him today, by the way, in the bookmakers, was 2,000 to 1.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Phil, we talk about Matty Goss. He's not the only Tasmanian in the race, because Richie Porte also hails from Tasmania, but he will be looking after Alberto Contador this afternoon.
Very unfortunate split there, because that means riders in a favourable position suddenly find themselves behind again. Tyler Farrar here just dropping off as well. The sprinters will have enjoy the next couple of days on the Tour de France, but for today, their job is done, and it looks as though the job, and there he goes again. Gorka is a gear, tries once more. Well, they won't let anybody go, will they, despite what is happening? And the peloton snapping on the back wheels.
We're looking here at 5 to 7 seconds advantage for these 5 riders. Gorka Izagor here, Phil, just prolonging the agony as he goes under the banner of 4 kilometres to go. The banner of 3 kilometres to go is actually just on the outskirts of the town of the Mur-de-Bretagne, and from that point they can look in front of them and say, ooch, That's going to be hard.
Cancellara also sits up and drops off as well, with Mark Renshaw, the lead-out man for Cavendish. They've gone now, jobs are done. They are now all together at 3.7 kilometres to go. They have everything to race for now. Now we're going to see attacks from riders like BMC, for Cadel Evans. They're all racing to the Mur-de-Bretagne. This is where we are now. Once we leave the town of the Mur-de-Bretagne, we'll be on the climb, and it starts steep at 10% right now.
At 16 participations in the Tour de France, George Hincapie still has the desire to go to the front. He's got Cadel Evans on his wheel. He's pacing these riders through the town of Mur-de-Bretagne. Behind him, it's Jaroslav Popovic. It may well be that Team Radio Shack are looking for something this afternoon, but Cadel Evans is in an ideal position. So too is the orange-jerseyed Robert Hessing, the leader of Rabobank.
Yes, being led there by Luis Leon Sanchez, the man we saw early today have to change a flat tire. He's gone straight to the front to start the action for the Rabobank boys. Look at the crowd here. The whole of the town has turned out. A first ever finish of a stage of the Tour de France. Hincapie, this man is incredible. He's taking it to the limit, and then he'll say goodbye until he sees his boys at the finish.
Well, that's all he wants to do this afternoon. He's working as a dedicated team man. Cadel Evans has dropped back to 6th place there in the red and black jersey of his team. On his wheel is Alexander Vinokourov in the turquoise jersey, but they're still moving up. Everybody knows. Look at the pain and anguish on the face of these riders. Romain Felu has moved up to the front, but still in contact. Comfortably there in the yellow jersey is Thor Hushovd, and the man in the Saxo Bank jersey, the pale blue and black jersey there, is Alberto Contador.
Under 3 kilometres, the climb officially starts at 2 kilometres to go, but really we're on it now. There's a slight kick down before we go up again, just before that 2 kilometre banner. But now the favourites, who are expected to leapfrog from this peloton, are preparing. Watch that polka dot jersey of Philippe Gilbert, the winner on the Mont des Alouettes, the stage 1 on Saturday, on a similar finish.
Hincapie has come back to the front. You can see now he's giving this last little bit. He's just about to crest that climb. He will go downhill for a fraction. Bradley Wiggins there in the white jersey with the 2 bands across the middle. He's ideally positioned. There is 51, Thor Hushovd in the yellow jersey. He's still there. Chris Horner is up there for Radio Shack and the United States. But what a job of work as they start the climb now that was done there by George Hincapie.
Officially, we're on the climb of the wall now, the wall of Brittany, as they now all look at each other, and Philippe Gilbert has put himself right on the front. I don't think he wants to be there. Edvald Boysenhagen off to the left for Team Sky, looking for where his men are. His men will be Bradley Wiggins and Geraint Thomas.
Andy Schleck in the black and white jersey there, right in the middle, the taller rider. Locked on his wheel this afternoon is Alberto Contador. He's maybe a bit concerned about the possibility of an attack coming from the Luxembourger.
Oh, look at the face of Cadel Evans in the middle there. He knows that if he just opens a gap of a second, he'll be the leader of the Tour de France tonight. Others know if they open a gap of just 4 seconds or 5 seconds, they could be the leader of the Tour tonight. But at the moment, it's still Thor Hushovd in yellow down there.
There he is, locked in the middle of the pack. He has not given up. He doesn't want to take that jersey off and hand it to somebody else. Contador moving forward. Frank Schleck locked on his wheel there with the red and white bands around the middle, the champion of Luxembourg in the road race. We are now well into the Mur-de-Bretagne. Look at the faces of these riders. This is a beast of a climb. It's only 2 kilometres long. Gilbert now in the polka dot jersey moving into 2nd place behind his own teammate Jürgen van den Broek.
This is not the Pyrenees, this is not the Alps, this is a small climb in Brittany, and all of the riders who are thinking of winning the Tour de France are locking horns here in the last mile of the day. Contador is gone, and if the riders don't look to the left, this little climber's out to grab some time back. The time they took out of him on Saturday on the first stage, because he was left standing in the road. They're after him. Gilbert is the first to take up the cudgel.
Well, Gilbert saw that. He was waiting for a move. He's a very clever tactician. Cadel Evans is up into 4th position. The gap is starting to open. There's a rider there from Leopard Trek in 5th. Hushovd is about to be dropped, but he won't give up without a fight as Contador continues.
Paul, he's hanging in, Hushovd is, because look at the face of Contador. He's made the effort, but he's looked over his face, and he really has overshot himself here.
Well, Thor Hushovd has still not given up. He's dragging himself back in. Don't expect another attack to come. There's another attack coming, and Cadel Evans is going to cover it this time.
Well, Cadel Evans now marks the move here as we see Van den Broek up in the move as well. Cadel Evans knows he only wants 1 second advantage on the line to take yellow, but Contador, Hushoff has come back right into the pack. I think Saxo Banks Alberto Contador took himself too deep into the red.
1 kilometre to go. You can see again that looks like another move coming from Sky. Alexander Vinokourov is up into second position. It's Bosenhagen.
Bosenhagen's looking over for Geraint Thomas, and he's not there at the moment, but he's not far down. Evans is on the left of our picture here now. But take your hat off to Thor Hushoff. He wasn't supposed to be here at this stage of the race. He's sitting there and he's staying in yellow at the moment. And with every pedal rev, he's going to feel good. This is Van den Broek who's now launching a move, who is the new climber on the block from Belgium.
Well, in third position, Philippe Gilbert got the grimace on his face. Alberto Contador dancing as he does on any slope around Europe, followed there by Alexander Vinokourov. Still, they have not dismissed the Norwegian. The god of thunder, Thor Hushoff, is still hanging on to that jersey.
Well, as Van den Broek goes again at 500 metres, this is looking extremely good for Philippe Gilbert at the moment. Down to 400 metres now. Evans is into fourth, and Contador has dropped back. He's really hurt himself on this climb, Contador, and so far has got nothing to show for it. Philippe Gilbert is now locked in on his 29th birthday. He looked over just as Contador went through. Cadel Evans is now taking his chance at Contador. Evans is now coming. A 1 second gap means yellow. They've got to jump onto his back wheel. Vinokourov is coming up. Bosenhagen grits his teeth. Gilbert is down into fourth place. But you take your hat off to the yellow jersey of the Tour de France, because I think Hushoff will be in yellow tonight. But Evans has got the victory, but Contador thinks he's got it.
Well, in the photo finish there, it was very close. Bradley Wiggins lost a couple of seconds there, quite possibly with Rojas coming across the line. But it looked to me as if the lunge for the line might just have given the victory there to Alberto Contador. But what a ride by Thor Hushoff, who was well in that group and will stay in the yellow jersey.
He's made the experts look completely silly, I think, because that was superb by the God of Thunder. He's kept his yellow jersey. Let's have a look now and see if Cadel Evans was denied the win on the line by Alberto Contador.
Well, it's going to be very close. In fact, Race Radio is announcing that the victory did go to Cadel Evans. So let's look at this from the top here. Cadel Evans is leading out. There you can see the challenge coming from Contador, but is it a little bit too late?
Oh dear.
Well, I'll leave that up to you, Phil. Yes,
Cadel Evans has won it, and that is officially his first win. He's won a time trial when Vinokourov was disqualified later in the year for allegedly taking drugs. But that's the first stage win officially on the line for Cadel Evans.
And look at that, Thor Hushoff right up there as well.
So Cadel Evans wins, but no time gap. Contador gets second, Vinokourov is third, Ura is in fourth place. That's the way we've seen the result right now.
Notice as well that Andreas Kloden was the best rider home from Team Radio Shack in 10th place. So what an exciting finish that was. A brilliant ride by Thor Hushoff, I have to say. Even he himself thought that he wouldn't hold on to it today, and now he's got a very good chance of keeping the lead in the overall standings for a number of days to come. Frank Schleck there in 7th position. Rigoberto Uran right up there for Team Sky. Look at the face of Cadel Evans here. He really wanted this victory here this afternoon. He probably wanted the yellow jersey as well, but this is a psychological slap in the face to everybody else. Good lunge for the line there for Cadel Evans, and Alberto Contador at that point knew that he hadn't got himself the victory. And look at the damage that has been done here, and I think George Hincapie will get a very good slap on the back from Cadel Evans this afternoon, and theoretically he should be able to keep that for a really wanted this victory here this afternoon. He probably wanted the yellow jersey as well. Psychological slap. Hats off to number 51, because Thor Hushoff deserves that yellow jersey, and theoretically he should be able to keep that for a number of days to come. The general classification now, look at it, a little bit of a shake-up. Cadel Evans still there in 2nd place. Frank Schleck in 3rd. David Miller in 4th place. He lost a couple of seconds on the run into the line. Kloden up into 5th. Wiggins down to 6th. Geraint Thomas in 7th. What a shake-up. Andy Schleck in 9th.
Yeah, Miller goes from 2nd to 4th, and Evans comes up into 2nd place, and Schleck there, as Paul says, in 3rd.